Hello, friend. How is it going? Welcome back to the channel if you've been here before. If you are new, my name is Jean Onison. I'm an entrepreneur, mentor, and I guess all around human being trying their best. And I love talking about mindset, success, entrepreneurship, healing, growing, all of that good stuff. So if that is something you're into, make sure you like, subscribe, and any of the above because that is what we're going to talk about. Today, I want to touch on a topic that I think every single one of us need to hear, even my freaking self. So, the topic is, what are you willing to do, to give up, and who are you willing to become in order to get to the next level? Whew, let's get into it because I think this is such a touchy subject for a lot of us, especially if we find ourselves between a rock and a hard place, if we find ourselves in a hole that we have dug ourselves. Now, earlier this week, I was listening to a podcast by Ramit Sethi. If you don't know him, he's kind of like a financial mentor, I guess you could call it, financial public figure. What I love about how he approaches money is that he really gets into the psychology of money. Why do we do what we do? What background do we have when it comes to our experiences, our parental role models, our family dynamics, our trauma, all of these things that influences how we feel about money today and how we approach money today. I'm going to link the episode that I listened to earlier this week in my notes. So if you are interested in listening to it, go for it. I highly recommend it. Listening to his podcast has really allowed me to take a good look at my own financial psychology and really get to the bottom of why do I do what I do, blah, 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 and why do I believe what I believe, and how can I make changes and, create actions in my favor so that I'm exactly where I want to be 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now when it comes to my money, but more importantly, when it comes to my life, right? Because money is a tool. It allows us to do many great things in this world, especially if we learn how to control it. But this is not a talk about money. Like I said, if you want to listen to that podcast, go for it. What I really want to touch on is a subject or a topic that, they had gone into in this episode, which highly resonated with me. And in this episode, they were talking about, what are we willing to give up in order to move forward? It's kind of like the analogy of a arrow being pulled back. Sometimes it feels like you're going back, but what you're actually doing as you're making sacrifices, as you're making those hard decisions, as you're giving things up, as you are maybe downsizing your life, living below your means, changing your diet, trying to be a better person in your relationships, sometimes it feels like you're being pulled back or that you're going back because you are making hard decisions. But in turn, those decisions is actually what helps you catapult yourself forward into the best life that you want to possibly be living. I resonate so deeply with this because for me, I have been in that place time and time again. I know what it's like to be broke, busted, and disgusted, to be living above your means, getting into debt, being stressed out about money. I know what poor health feels like, having to struggle just to feel like you can live on a day-to-day basis, having poor mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, having poor relationships, feeling isolated and alone, all those things I've been through, and I'm wanting to bet and can bet my dollar on that you've been through as well. But I also remember I got to a point where I realized I cannot keep doing this anymore. Enough is enough. I am struggling and I don't want to struggle anymore. And I made those hard decisions. I started getting on a budget. I started living below my means, started to really get on top of my money, started to work out, started to eat better, started to cut out the negativity and the toxicity and get my emotional and mental health in a better place, started to connect better with others, be more vulnerable, be more open, be more honest, create better relationships through love and respect and vulnerability. All of these things were hard, especially at that time when you've been making decisions contrary to that reality or a better reality for so long. You get stuck there. There's a reason why a lot of us are so attached to our trauma, to our baggage, to mistreatment, to disrespect, It's not because we want it necessarily, in my opinion. It's because it's just familiar. It's comfortable. We know what to expect, right? We know that, hey, like, even if this sucks, at least I am familiar with this sucking. At least I can handle this sucking because I've just been living here for so long. But what I loved, again, about listening to this podcast was that this couple and Remy were kind of talking back and forth about, what are we willing to do to now get better? What are we willing to give up? Are we willing to give up our pride and our ego? Are we willing to give up some comforts, some luxuries? Really getting clear on what are needs and what are wants. Because most things are wants, they're not needs. If you got food, a roof over your head, and a bed to sleep on, you are living a good life. You are rich beyond compared to the rest of the world, right? And just putting those things into perspective every single time. I wanted to share something with you as I was listening to that podcast. In this season of my life, I've gotten debt free. My health is the best it's ever been because I'm actually putting time and energy and investing in it, working out, eating right, all those things. My relationships are the best they've ever been. I've really done the work to connect better, to be more vulnerable, to be more open and engaged. My business is going to new heights that it hasn't ever been before, creating the right team, the right culture, being the right leader in order to build an amazing business. All of these areas of my life have seen fantastic, amazing growth. And I know in this season, there are still sacrifices and there's still trade-offs that I'm gonna have to be willing to make if I want to get to that next level. Just because I've gotten out of the hole that I dug myself in doesn't mean I want to stop. There's another level waiting for me and waiting for every single one of us. That's the exciting part about being human and not having a limit to our potential, is that you can go as far, as high, as wide as you want to go. The limit is you, right? It's not, this is where I end. It's how far can I go? So I know even for myself, being in a better position, being a bit more comfortable, being a bit more living the reality that I was wishing for 5 years ago, I know that the next stage, the next season, the next level of my life is going to require me to give some more things up. Maybe give that comfort up. Maybe give up some more of my ego and pride. How gritty, how down in the dirt, getting gritty, getting busy, working hard am I willing to get? How much am I willing to surrender more of my ego? Don't get so caught up in my whatever, my pride or my status, or, I've done so much already. Like, I shouldn't have to do so much more. That definitely is a growth, like it stagnates to growth, a growth stagnator, I was about to say. So even for me in this season, I think for every single one of us, it doesn't matter how good you got it, you're going to have to make more sacrifices in order to get to that next step. So I wanted to encourage you, whether you are in the dumps, which I have been there, whether you're a little bit more comfortable, you've kind of made those decisions already to get yourself out of a bad place, or whether you are already living this amazing, great life that you've wished for, I would just encourage you, because you can, what is that next level for you? How much more can you become? How much more can you give? That's the exciting part. The more you become, the more you have to give for others. The more you can be a light for others, an inspiration, the more you can give back to your communities, to your families, maybe invest in causes that you believe in, and not just monetarily, but with your time and energy and your presence and your leadership and your light and your joy. How can you give back even more? But in order to do that, we do have to become more. So to that I say, whatever those sacrifices are, whatever those hard decisions, sometimes the good decisions are the hardest decisions. Whatever you have to surrender, whether that be your ego, your pride, your comfort, I don't know what it is for you. I can't specifically encourage or talk you through it, but I do want to encourage you to make those decisions, to see the vision for yourself 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, to say, I'm so glad, like just imagine yourself in that season thinking, I'm so glad I was willing to sacrifice then, because it's given me so much now. So that's all I have for today. Like I said, this topic, this conversation I was listening to on this podcast, it was like touching my soul, my spirit, my heart, because I was like, oh my God, I've been there and I am there right now. I want to elevate. I want to grow. I want to get to that next level. But I know there are some things that are holding me back that I need to let go of, that I need to get rid of, that I need to be willing to sacrifice. So join me on that journey. Like I said, if I haven't said already, like, subscribe, share this with someone you know needs this message, and let me know what you think. Where are you at? Are you ready to make those decisions? Are you ready to grow? Let's do it together. Bye.